Welcome back to the IBSP. Here's your host, Foxy New.
Roy Jones Jr. is leaning towards Bud Crawford to beat Canelo Alvarez. And look, let's break it down honestly and objectively as possible. And Roy Jones Jr. did an interview with The Ring where he states that he's leaning towards a hungry Terence Crawford to get the job done and beat Canelo Alvarez. His exact statement was, Bud has never gotten the recognition for what he deserves like Canelo Alvarez has. Bud is still hungry for that recognition. When you're hungry like that, a determined man, you're very hard to detour. Now here's the thing. He's saying that Bud Crawford will beat Canelo Alvarez because he's so hungry, and he's favoring him to beat Canelo at this point because of Terence Crawford's intense hunger. Now, also in that interview, Roy Jones Jr. said a few other interesting things. One thing he said is Bud Crawford is 3-time undisputed, going for 4-time undisputed. Now, that's inaccurate. That is not correct. And so, Roy Jones Jr. doesn't have his facts right. So that's a little weird that Roy is off about his facts like that. The second thing he said was Canelo Alvarez has to be perfect the entire fight to win the fight against Terence Crawford. Now, that makes no sense to me. Why would Canelo need to be perfect the entire fight? But I digress. What's interesting about all of this is Roy Jones Jr., earlier this year, he was picking and leaning towards Canelo Alvarez. Now he switched his pick over to Terence Crawford. I find that a very interesting change. A lot of fighters are switching their picks to Terence Crawford. A lot of media fans and pundits are believing Terence Crawford is going to pull off this win and beat Canelo Alvarez. Now, what's interesting is when you break down his statement and he says that, Terence Crawford has never gotten the recognition of Canelo, it's simply because when you look at Bud's resume, it's weak. I mean, at the end of the day, he's never taken on the level of killers that Canelo Alvarez has. There's no Dimitri Bivol on his resume. There's no Sergey Kovalev. There's no Caleb Plant. There's no Danny Jacobs on his resume. I mean, he had a Wash Brook. He had a semi-retired Porter. David Avenetian is garbage truck juice. Israel Mandramov won a vacant title and he went life and death. Errol Spence is likely his best name, but he even said Errol Spence was a hype job and not a Hall of Famer. So really, when you look at his resume, it's very, very weak. And that's why he's not gotten the recognition. It wasn't because anybody was hating on Bud or not fair to Bud. His resume sucks. That's really the truth of it. Doesn't matter how his resume got that way. It's the simple fact of his resume being garbage. That's really all this is. Now, aside from that, he also said that the reason Bud is going to win because he's so hungry. Now, what's interesting is Jermell Charlo was extremely hungry in the Canelo Alvarez fight. He stated that, he's hungry to prove his skills are superior to Canelo's. He's hungry. You remember, hunger is not why you win these fights. It's a part of it, but it's not why you win these fights. You need the chin, the skills, and the power to complement your hunger. And we know that Bud Crawford power has not even carried up to 154. So if we already know that, in his chin, what's not been tested by a massive, massive puncher. Bud has not been in with any crazy, hard-hitting punchers. He just simply hasn't. So when you look at it, we know his skills are legit, but his chin and his power are not where you believe they should be for a fight of this magnitude. Now, also, he said Canelo Alvarez had to be perfect for the entire fight just to win the fight. I don't believe that at all. I mean, that's one of the dumbest analyses I've heard from Roy Jones Jr., and Roy Jones Jr. is one of my all-time favorite fighters, him and Muhammad Ali. And one thing I'll say is this. It's Bud Crawford that has to be perfect the entire fight. It's Bud Crawford that cannot make a mistake. And this is what I mean, is that Canelo Alvarez has elite power. He has the type of power at 168 pounds where he can stop the fight and hurt Bud Crawford at any point in that fight. He could hit Bud with one clean shot. And in theory, one clean shot and end the fight at any moment. Canelo could be losing 11 rounds to nothing, and then Canelo lands one clean shot and Bud goes to sleep and can't get back up. So that's what I mean. Terence Crawford has to be perfect for the entire 12 rounds. We know Terence Crawford can't hurt Canelo. We know he can't stop Canelo. So he has to outbox him to get a decision. And the issue is he has to be perfect for 12 rounds to get that decision. Canelo has elite power at 168. Canelo has devastating knockout power. Terence Crawford simply does not at that weight class. He didn't even have power at 154. So we got to be honest and objective about this. And we also don't even know what Terence Crawford's chin is like against an elite puncher, a big puncher, because he's never faced one. Errol Spence was an elite puncher. He couldn't even stop Mikey Garcia. Israel Madrimov won a vacant title. He was not known as a giant puncher. I mean, let's be honest. Sean Porter's not a big puncher. He never has been. Kell Brook was completely washed. Jeff Horn was a scrub. So we know this when we go through his resume. We know he got hurt by Kavaliauskas and timed. We've seen that. He got hurt by Gamboa in time, but neither one of those guys were elite punchers. So at the end of the day, Canelo Alvarez doesn't have to be perfect at 12 rounds, but Crawford does. So when I look at Roy Jones' statement of saying, he's leaning towards Terence Crawford to win and he's changed his prediction and that Bud is so hungry and all of this, I do look at this like Roy Jones Jr. believes and sees something in Terence Crawford that's great. He believes Terence Crawford is simply at another level that a lot of people don't believe. I mean, if you're picking a guy based on hunger and Canelo has to be perfect for 12 rounds, you must see a lot of potential and success and skill and everything in Bud Crawford. That's why you're leaning towards him to beat a guy like Canelo Alvarez, even though Bud's moving up multiple weight classes. And a lot of fighters, trainers, and pundits are seeing the same thing. We shall find out on the night of the fight.